Where to go? Heaven only knows. Your trust is in my arms, so hold me till the dawn. Never let me go. On and on, been dreaming for so long. Said we'll make them all come true. Now our story's just about to be told. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. We can start right here. Push away the fear. We can start right here. Push away the fear. We can almost usually much anymore. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. We can start right here. This is the beginning. This is the beginning. This is the it starts right here.
Well, hello, and welcome. How are we all today? So my name is Alana Green. For those who don't know, you might be catching this live. It's streaming on YouTube as well. But I just wanted to welcome you all. Thank you so much for joining today to unlock your power. If you have any questions at all, please feel free to drop it in the chat, whether it's on YouTube or in here in the Zoom. Feel free to drop it in the chat. You can send me a message before or afterwards, any of that stuff, or you can raise your hand and answer questions. This is a workshop style event. We're going to be here for about an hour, hour and a half. So please feel free to make sure you have some pen and paper, but feel free to take some time because we're going to do some work. We're going to actually do some things while we're on here today. So I wanted to tell you a little bit about Unlock Your Power and what inspired me to create this event. So I know through my own business and what I've done in the past, my journey through coaching and in different realms, my intuition, my inner power, and that's part of it. The intuition is just one of the pieces. There's so many pieces that connect our inner power. But we have these things within us that we don't really tap into super well. So, in my journey, I've really tapped into some of these things that I've learned through my journey. Um, Reiki being one of them, and we're going to talk about Reiki and specifically, and how that can help your life in general, your personal life, as well as in your business, your whatever it is you're doing, your career, whatever that might look like for you, how that can impact your life. Reiki, mindfulness, and it doesn't have to be specifically Reiki. I have a Reiki practitioner, so that's why I'm touching on it today. But you can use many other modalities, and that's something else we'll touch on as well. But it's really tapping into your inner power and what you bring to the table. And it's not just about me providing information for you. It's about you learning how you can utilize this information for yourself, tap into your abilities, your strengths, and utilize that in all of the things that you do. So again, my name is Alana Green. I've been in this field for the last 4 years. Very quick, again, I've been following my intuition a lot on my journey. It led me to my mentor, Kathleen Cameron, who some of you may know. But it also led me to this understanding of more of myself and the fact that there is more to me than just the day-to-day grind, the day-to-day things. I was caught up in the, working my job, paying a paycheck, all of those beautiful things, but there's so much more to our life. We feel like, have you ever had this feeling of more, this seeking of something else, and we don't really know what that is? It's the feeling of wanting to tap into yourself, wanting to connect to your inner power. And when we tap into ourselves, we tap into more than just me. It's more than just me. I learned in this process that it's a two-part equation, that there's not just me, Alana Green, but I have an inner power within me. And I have this connection to something much, much bigger. Sometimes we get lonely and we feel like we're on this journey all by ourselves, but we are on this journey together with ourselves, with me, but also in a co-creation of myself and this higher power that we're all connected to, whether you call it God, universe, source. You could give it a variety of names, but there's something, some energy that connects us all, that we tap into when we utilize our intuition, when we utilize our imagination. Like, all of these things are all interconnected. They're given to us as gifts through that power that we get to utilize in all aspects of our life. So like I said, this is useful for not just for your life, day-to-day things, but also for your business, your career, where you're going, these types of things. So to give you just a brief overview, like I said, we're going to touch a little bit on Reiki. I'm going to give you some tools today as well. So please feel free to take some notes. At the end, I want to ask you what you're taking away from today. So feel free to, like I said, utilize the chat, drop a message. If you're on YouTube, comment away. Please feel free to take this information, take some tools from today and implement them in your daily life. So like I said, I really have tapped into my intuition. It really led me to connecting to who and what I do today. I used to work a 9-to-5 job, and I now am completely self-employed. I do all of this stuff because I love all of it. I found my passion, my connection through what I've done, through the discovery of my intuition, through listening to what feels right for me and stepping into that. And so it's led me to things like Reiki, but there's so many different modalities that you can tap into, and Reiki is just one of them. There are so many healing modalities, and this is part of it, is that we come here as energetic beings. We have this human experience, and we have things that happen to us in our life that we tend to hold on to bring in. And sometimes we have problems, not problems. Sometimes we, in this human form, struggle with letting them go. So by utilizing your intuition, following what feels right for you, you can discern and discover what is the best way, modality, method that works best for you. But there is healing that needs to happen along the way. And that's where I feel like a lot of this connecting to our own inner power comes from, is that we want to move forward. We have the desire to move forward, to create more, that feeling of being drawn into something else, to continue in our career, to climb the ladder, to build our business, to do something bigger than us. And so when we utilize our intuition, we can really tap into a gift that has been given to us to be able to move us in the right direction. Sometimes we don't trust that right direction. We feel like all these old programs, these thoughts, these people that have taught us and brought us up in our life, that, should we do this and should we do that? And we ask our friends and we pull the reality, and so we talk to our families, and we may get negative, we may get positive, but either way, we don't make decisions based on what we feel is right a lot of the time. So when we tap into our intuition, when we connect to ourselves, we get to feel what feels right for us. Our guidance, our feeling is our guide. So we get to utilize that power within us to make those decisions, to make things easier. And that's what like I said, that's what I've done for the last 4 years. It led me to my first leap of faith when I left my job, and then to become a coach, and then Reiki, and then to leave the community I was in for almost 3 years to doing what I'm doing now. And I just announced yesterday that I'm becoming an author, a published author. That again, I started a podcast as well. Both of those things were things that I never anticipated that I would ever do, but I followed what felt right in the moment, and they led me to those things, which each step along the way. And that's kind of one of the hints here, is that we don't need to know the whole picture in order to continue to go forward. We just need to make a decision with what we know and what we feel in today, in this moment. And that's what I've been doing. And it's leading me down this beautiful path that feels amazing. And I know it feels right. So how does all of this tie into our business and our day-to-day life, our career? Is that when we follow this feeling, this guidance that we have, it leads us, thank you very much, it leads us down the right path that's meant for us. We learn to trust ourselves versus others when we're not just listening to the feedback. But the more you learn to trust, the more you pay attention to the feeling, the intuition, those nudges, the more the right things will show up. It becomes an avalanche of goodness. But sometimes we have resistance within us. Sometimes we have things that we're holding on to from the past. And those are the things that get us feeling stuck. And it's not that it's a bad thing. It's just there's something within us that we need to heal, we need to work through, we need to understand. So that's where Reiki or energy work or healing in general comes into play. And like I said, I want to empower you today to know that you have so much power in you. I talked about imagination, I talked about intuition. You also are a healer. Sometimes we're like, there's those that are out there like myself, that's a Reiki practitioner, and she's a healer, or whatever, and we might look at it in a certain way or a certain light, and whatever, none of that matters. But every single person, whether you believe in it or not, is a healer. You have that ability. You cut your finger, you naturally heal. We have this ability within us to heal. When we apologize, when we have a conversation, when we feel hurt, that's healing. So each and every one of us have this power within us to heal, to continue to move forward, to learn and grow, that we can create something different. But I want to empower you to know that it doesn't need to be, when we talk about Reiki or energy work, it's like there's this one person that heals. Like, yes, I've done, with Reiki, there's 3 levels of Reiki, and each one there's an attunement, and on the 3rd level you become a Reiki master and whatever. So I focused my intention on learning and understanding it in a deeper way. But that doesn't make it say that I can do it and you can't. I've intentionally spent time learning it and understanding it, whereas even today we're going to go over a little tool that you can utilize, that you don't need an attunement. You don't need to spend hours of learning. You just need to concentrate on you for a few minutes. So we're going to give you that today. But I want to empower you with the fact that every one of you has the ability to make a bigger impact on yourself physically, first of all, because when we're talking about Reiki, it's not just an energy work and healing. It's not just about energy and the flow. Yes, it's that. But when we don't have the right energy and flow within us, it manifests in other ways. We end up with aches, pains, illness, chronic illness, all of these types of things that happen. And I can almost tell you, if somebody explains an illness to me, I can almost tell you where in your body you're holding on to something, because I've been working on this practice, that there's something within you that you're still holding on to. And if we could release that, it would help release the physical manifestation of it. I 100% have a belief we can heal everything within our body if we choose to. That's my belief. But this is the beautiful part about our inner guidance system that you have, is that you get to choose whether you believe it or not. You get to choose your truth. And that's another thing I want to empower you with today. It's that it's not just about me, what I'm saying to you, and that you need to take what I believe and everything I say is gospel. I just want you to understand that you get to choose your own truth from everything I share. What feels right for you? What feels like the truth? And you get to choose it. There's no right or wrong. There's people that'll say that they are the right and these are wrong and vice versa, but there is no right or wrong. It's everybody's opinion and everybody gets one. Right? Everybody, it's the beautiful part about the world is that we all have an opinion and we all get one. We all get to have one. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong, but each person, each one of you gets to choose what feels right for you. So like I said, I have this full belief that every single one of us can heal all of the physical as well as the energetic things that are going on within us. So just a little, I'll give you a little blurb about Reiki just for those that don't know. So it is energy work. And we're talking about within our body, we are at a very cellular level. We are all energy. We are moving. I'm not a scientist, not going to even pretend to get into the science of it, but we are at the atom level. We are vibrating, right? And energy. And each atom is vibrating at a certain particular energy. And together that makes us as a whole. And so whatever at that molecular level, we are all energy and moving in vibration. So when we hold on to things, we're creating and holding on to it, we're changing and shifting that vibration in a certain area. So Reiki helps with the balance of that energy, releasing of that vibration when you're holding on to it in a different way. So it can do things like help with focus, help with mental clarity when you release some of the stuff that's going on, brain fog, reduce stress, because you're centering, you're coming within instead of, a lot of the times the stress comes from outside of us, out here, and the things that we think are going on in our head. So when we let some of that go, it brings calm, it brings ease. And we're going to get into a couple of tools and practices today to be able to help with that. When you take this information, this work, and you implement it in your business or in your career, you create a more positive experience for yourself, but not just yourself, those around you. When you walk into a room and you're calm and clear and collected, people feel that. Again, we are energetic beings. You can feel it when somebody walks in a room. I can guarantee you, all of you that are watching, you've been in a room where somebody has walked in and you felt that person. They were calm, they were cool, they were confident. Not just like cool isn't cool, but like centered, balanced. When you're calm and in that state and you have those, you don't react to things, or you can learn to control that reaction. And that's the reaction. And all the reaction is something that you've done in the past, an experience that you've had, and you automatically relate that situation to your past, to that situation you've had before. That's what a reaction is. It's a memory. It's a learned response that you've done over and over by habit. So by moving yourself and choosing a different way, and you get centered and you get feeling good about your body and yourself, letting go of some of that stuff from the past, healing some of it, recognizing it, we get to let it go. And I'm not saying that like things, trauma and things that happened in the past, that we can't just let it go. It doesn't just go away. It'll always be a memory. It'll always be something that may affect us or impact us in some way. But you can choose to do with it is what's different. And that's the healing process of, even a lot of the time, most of us, when we have something that happened in our life, again, these moments in time where we created these memories, which created a response or reaction now, are memories that in that moment caused pain or hurt. And then we held on to that pain and hurt and we didn't let it go. So it's staying within our body, in our memory, and at a cellular level, it's created a memory that automatically pops up without you consciously choosing it, without you going, oh, right, it was this one time, this back here, blah, 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 blah. It's happening up here in the subconscious without you even realizing it. But by going, what happens is that in that moment, whenever that thing happened, you created a memory and a cellular memory, and you didn't process it. You may not have been able to. A lot of the time we're holding on to stuff from our childhood because we were sponges back then. We didn't know how to process it. And usually we get to this point in our life, we're like, man, why is this stuff coming up again? I thought I got rid of this stuff. It's because you're now ready to process it. And what is processing it? Becoming aware of it, experiencing it. Because most of the time, the problem, the thing that we're holding on to something when we're stuck there, it's because we never processed it. We never felt it. Usually we suppressed it or didn't understand how to process it at the time. So it's stayed there. We didn't get to experience it all. I'll give you a quick little idea here. So my son just left. I'm in the middle of like empty nest syndrome. I just left a week ago. I actually moved myself into his bedroom in my new office. Anyway, so that was a process. And instead of just like, no, I'm good, I will just suffer through and I will pack up his stuff, and he's gone on to university and stuff like that. So that's why. But instead of like just pushing it down and pushing through and being like, no, I'll be fine, it'll be okay, I'm just going to pack up his stuff and go and carry on, I did some Reiki. I did some self Reiki, and I opened myself up and I said, and we'll go through this process here shortly, but I went to my heart and I asked for the experience. I asked for the healing. I asked to feel the feelings. And the next day, I can tell you, I felt the feelings. I spent a whole day, every half an hour in tears. But because of that, I took the time to experience it, to process it. I feel so much better about it now. It still hurts. It's still a process I'm going to have to work through. It's that loss of, different shift in the relationship, obviously, but not having him here every day. But I can talk about it, whereas a week ago I couldn't even talk about it because I took the time to process it. And a lot of the time, like I said, I'm at this point where I am now, where I can process it and I understand it. I knew what to do to help myself through the process. Whereas before, I wouldn't have done any of that. I would have just kept pushing through, and then a year or two later, I would have had a meltdown. So that's what I mean, is like, I now know where to process it, but before I didn't. When I was a kid, I definitely didn't. You didn't get any of that. Nobody taught us how to do that. We just took it all in. So that's what these practices can help you do, is even sometimes when, like I said, when things come up from the past and you're like, why is this showing up right now? It's because you're ready to move through it, let it go, process it, feel the feelings of it, because you couldn't in that time. Now you can feel the feelings of it. Once you've experienced it in all its kind of crappy glory, because it's never usually a good thing. Well, sometimes it is though. But when you get to feel all the feelings and process them, you don't let go of the memory, but you move the energy from you. So because when you start clearing out this stuff and healing yourself, you get better at making decisions because you're responding versus automatically reacting, right? You're better at problem solving because you can take the time to think it through. Again, now that I have this Reiki practice, I can like, okay, this one modality. Okay, well, I'm going to do this and I can make decisions now easier about, like this room and whatnot because I process things. It was easier to make decisions. You can resolve conflict a whole lot easier because I watched this video the other day. Oh, it was so good, and I wish I had saved it. But it was this gentleman that was like, why do we get offended by people when they say something about us? Why does it bother us? Because we feel like we are very good at like taking other people's opinions. Again, we look outside of us. We spend all of our day, all of our years collecting everybody else's opinion. When we were little, we were taught to listen to our parents. When we were in school, we were taught right and wrong from our teachers. So we've created programs of getting answers and the right and wrong from outside of us. So now, no wonder we value people's opinions so much. Everybody else is not our own, right? When we were kids, we didn't really ask opinions. We just did stuff. Got in trouble for it later. But we just did things without thinking about it. Now we're in this program where we have to get everybody else's opinion, and everybody's opinion matters. So now, going back to this video, this gentleman was like, I can't even tell you who it is, but I feel like I'm stealing his information, but I'm not going to do it justice. But what he said is like, the reason why we get hurt and offended by other people or what they say is because we take on their identity. Somebody says something about us, and we automatically think that of ourselves. And it's funny, he said it as simple as like, what if this person was telling you had blue hair? You wouldn't be offended by it because you don't have blue hair. Oh, you're not great because you have blue hair. Well, I'm not even going to think that because I obviously don't have blue hair. I'm not taking that identity. But if somebody says you suck because you messed this up, well, I'm automatically going to take that on because I messed it up. That must have been, I must suck. Right? So the only way we're giving away our power is by taking those opinions and taking them on as our own identity. So we are super clear on who we are, our confidence, our thoughts, our abilities. And we're clear and we know, a lot of the time we struggle with, because of the past experiences, we struggle with who we are. So once we move some of this stuff out of the way, the old experiences, the programs, the reactions, traumas, etc., it's easier to deal with conflict. It's easier to deal with people or feedback because you know who you are and you're solid at that identity. You have increased productivity, efficiency, all of the things because you are more confident, you're more clear, you feel good in your own space. So there's the reasons why we're talking about what we're talking about today. Now, I want to give you some tools to be able to take away, like I said. So like I mentioned earlier about the fact that each one of us are healers. I'm going to give you a little tool here where we're going to do a little self Reiki. This doesn't make you a Reiki master. We're not doing a whole level 1 response, which is self Reiki, but we're not doing a whole level 1 training and attunement and all that stuff. But I'm just going to give you a quick practice. Before we get into that, I do want to mention that there are, very briefly, so Reiki specifically, in a traditional sense, is an energetic practice. It's a silent practice, and it's usually used physically by hand, but you can, I've learned through my own, and again, through my truth, it feels right when I can say I can do it virtually, or people can do it virtually. I had my first Reiki experience virtual, and it was mind-blowing. My Reiki master had done and said things that I was like, this man doesn't know me from a hole in the ground. He's telling me things like that have come up from the past and whatever. Anyway, it was so interesting. But it is an energetic practice, and it's using your chakras, these energy centers we have, just like how we have circulation, breath, and our blood, all these things that are circulating within us, our energy circulates as well. So helping clear out those energy spaces, those chakras, which is when you go to the nerves and stuff like that. Again, I'm not a scientist, can't tell you all the things, but it's where our energy centers and our nerves all connect. where our energy centers and our chakras are. So it's this connection to that higher power I was mentioning earlier, that life force. We are all connected to it automatically. We all have a connection to it. Whether you've done an attunement or not, you are connected. So by utilizing this life force energy and creating a flow of it all through, if you imagine your chakras, and if you don't know them, there's 7 of them. I think everybody probably has seen them at this point. You have your crown, your third eye, which is up here, your throat chakra, your heart, your solar plexus, the top part of your stomach there, your sacral, your root. Did I mention them all? I think that was 6 or 7. Anyway, so you have these energy centers, and when you create flow, usually when we're doing Reiki, that you'll notice when there's something, like I said earlier, about the fact that there's when you tell me physically what's wrong with you, if there's something going on, I could tell you specifically what it's tied to, because each one of them are responsible for different parts of your body. Kind of like reflexology. There's different parts of your foot that, are responsible. You can connect to different places in your foot all throughout your body. Everything's connected. Your whole body's connected, right? So it's moving through those energies and removing anything that you're holding on to, those traumas, those things that you're energetically holding on to that show up in your physically in your body. And it's moving through that life force energy through to clear that stuff out. And so you don't need to have a hands-on practice. You can. It's probably more powerful. I don't know. When I've experienced in-person sessions, they are pretty powerful. But it's usually hands-on, can be done virtually. And there are 5 fundamental principles, and I'll share those with you, and I'll read them off because I don't have, you'd think I'd have them memorized after 2 years of being a Reiki practitioner, but I just don't. The 5 principles of Reiki are: just for today, I will not be angry. Listen to the words and really repeat themselves to yourself in your mind, and see how you feel by the end of this. Just for today, I will not be angry. Just for today, I will not worry. Just for today, I will be grateful. Just for today, I will do my work honestly. Just for today, I will be kind to every living thing. And that's the principles that Reiki is based off of. And if you just think about those 5 statements, and I love where it says just for today, instead of the pressure of, I have to do all of these things, or I'm going to accomplish great big huge goals. All it's asking you for is just for today. It doesn't seem big, doesn't seem hard, and that's it. And it feels easy and light. Does anybody have any questions about what we've gone over so far? I'll throw a quick question out there before we get into the practice. Cool. If you're commenting on YouTube, I can't see the comments yet, so I'll have to get back to them after. So let's demonstrate a little bit of Reiki for you, and you get to do it because you are just as much of a healer as I am. So I'm going to play a little music. I think I just, shared my sound. Beautiful. Hopefully it's not too loud. Can you hear me over the music? Okay, cool. Be careful. Appreciate the nod. I will speak louder because sometimes I tend to get quiet when I do my meditation. Why don't you put your pen down? Okay, pen and paper down. Just take a nice, beautiful, deep breath in through your nose. Fill your lungs fully and out. Nice, beautiful, deep breath in. Fill your lungs fully and out. Feels calmer already, just that beautiful deep breaths. Feel free, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes. Deep breath in. like I said, you can do this in any part of your body, anywhere, anything. And you can do it during the day, anytime. Take 5, 10, 15 minutes and practice. And it's just like learning to play an instrument. Mr. Herner. Practice. The more you practice, the better you get at it. So, it may not feel like much in this moment because you're trying to do it while we're on a Zoom or you're watching on YouTube. And it may not feel super powerful just yet. But the first time you took your steps, did you successfully walk right away? The first time you rode a bike, the first time you did anything, did you feel amazing and powerful in that moment? Probably not. But practice, try this out. I would, like I said, challenge you to do it for a few days in a row and see if you notice a difference if you haven't already. Maybe try it before you go to sleep. I remember when I first, actually, it was way before this journey of mine. My grandfather was a hypnotherapist. And I got a hold of one of his therapy tapes. And I remember just listening to it and was like, focus again, using that intention and your awareness to relax before you go to bed. Definitely still use that to this day whenever I can't sleep. You focus on different parts of your body and relax the muscles. And it feels like you're heavy by the time you're done, right? So you can do the same type of thing. And mindfulness is very much the same. It's just bringing your awareness to a space or bringing your awareness to the present moment. So when people are like, being more mindful, it's about being present in this moment. We get caught up in the stress and anxiety of so many other things. It's because we're focused on what's coming and not what's going on right now in this moment. By doing what we just did, by taking a moment, even just bringing your awareness to your breath, like we did at the very beginning, like I said, who feels calm right away by taking a few deep breaths? You brought your awareness, your focus to your breath, and you immediately became inward and in this present moment versus externally driven out here. Paying attention to all the things, where you're going, what you're doing. We are so busy with life out here, we don't take time to spend it with ourselves. We don't take time to be mindful of ourselves, be present. And when we do these types of practices and implement them in our life, you will notice changes and shifts, not right away, maybe. But again, the more you do it, the better it gets, the easier it gets. And I talked about the powers that we had within us. Using our breath, using our imagination, using our intuition, feeling what feels right, aligning ourselves. Again, going back to what is aligning yourself? It's going back to your truth, what feels right for you. When you align and you're like, I watched this practice the other day. Again, it was a really good one. It was like, okay, ask a question in your mind. Is this what I want? And pay attention to what your mind says. Okay, well, this is what my mind says. Take another nice deep breath. Ask yourself the next question. Ask yourself, what does my heart feel I should do? And then write it, whatever comes to you down. Trust what shows up. What shows up first? And then ask yourself a third time, what should I do? But focus on, bring your awareness to your gut. I think a lot of us use our gut instinct. There is guidance there for a reason. We all feel our intuition in different ways. It could be up here. Usually the consciousness is the first thought that comes to our mind is always our intuition. The second things, third things, the things that come after is usually old programs. So pay attention to the first answer. And what feels right for you is your truth. So when we talk about aligning ourselves with our career goals or aligning ourselves with our goals and what feels right, because sometimes somebody will give us a goal and we're like, we don't move towards it. No wonder, because we don't feel aligned to it. But by aligning yourself to what truly feels right to you, your truth, you're going to do things, you're going to be more motivated and driven to accomplish the goal versus a goal that somebody's given to you that you're not even connected with. Have you ever noticed that? I'm sure we've all been in a place in our life where we're at a job and somebody says, go do this. And you're like, oh my God, you could pull teeth out of my face before I really want to go do that thing. Right? Because you're not aligned to it. It's not something that you feel driven, connected to do. So, of course, you're going to not be motivated or driven to do it. But when you find something you're passionate about that lights you up, that feels so good, it's easy to get up and do it. You feel like you just want to get up out of bed and go do that thing. So whether it's a business, whether it's a career, find what feels right to you. When you align yourself to what feels right, the rest comes easy. It's easier to have, again, going back to when we're talking about this practice, when we're feeling, doing Reiki. I was trying to find a thought here that I can't quite seem to pull out of thin air right now. No, it's right here. Nope, not right here in front of me. There we go. When you're aligned, your clarity is easier. When you're aligned, there's more, it's easier to focus because there's no resistance to the idea. You're connected with it. It feels right. It's good for you. So when we're aligned and we're connected and it feels right and we're using our power within us to align and connect with it, it's easy to move forward. It helps us stay true to ourselves. And we know what's right and wrong. We do not need other people to tell us if it's right or wrong. I would encourage you to use your own intuition to decide what you would love, what you want to do. When you align with what truly matters to you, you identify your values, your goals, what feels right for you, and it's integrated in what you're doing every day, it is so much easier to move forward. It is so much easier to take steps forward, leaps and bounds. And when you're aligned, things show up. Opportunities, people, resources, all the things you need show up. Other than the times that we're like, man, I really want to do this thing, but we find all the excuses to not do it because it's like, you know, you're not truly aligned, or things show up. It was funny. It's like, you know, I'm sure you've all had this happen with a job, or, you know, people that have, it's like they didn't like the job and all of a sudden they get fired. If you don't align with it, if you don't take action, the universe will take action. Somebody will give you alignment to what you really feel. And then we look at that as a bad experience. Oh man, I got fired and it's a bad thing. Instead of, well, you now have more time to do what potentially you should be doing. What is aligned to you? What feels good for you? The universe is opening up space for you to create whatever it is you want. Any questions? Anything at this point? Good stuff. When we align ourselves to these inner powers, these connections that we have, when we align ourselves with our inner guidance, and like I said, there's this co-creation. We're not doing it alone. It's these, when you tap into these powers, it's like it creates magic. And what do I mean by that? So we can do things. I've been a very good, I say good as in I've done it as a habit all of my life. I've been really good, not really good, but I've always been a person that have been just doing things. I was taught to be a hard worker. You know, again, my parents were hard workers, did things, and if I didn't do it, then nobody else was going to, those types of things, right? Those were beliefs that I have always held. And then so when I get into my own work, it's like, okay, I need to do the things. But can I tell you a secret? Like I said, when you align yourself to the things that feel right for you, your truth, there's this other higher power that we're all interconnected with. They gave us these tools: imagination, intuition, will, all of these different things. It gave us these tools to utilize in our life. But what happens, for example, when you get into a mastermind or a brainstorm with people, right? There's a co-creation in there. So, you know, I have an idea by myself, if I sat here and I was trying to come up with a bunch of ideas by myself, I'd come up with a list of ideas for whatever topic, it doesn't matter. But if I sat down with a couple other people and I started listing off, I list off the things that I have thoughts of, ideas of, and then it sparks an idea in somebody else. By me providing that idea, it sparked an idea in somebody else, which sparked an idea in the other person. So all of a sudden we've got a brainstorm. That's why it's called a brainstorm, because you're connecting all of your minds together and storming through them. You're like, they start coming all at once. Ideas start piling on, and all of a sudden you've got this like incredible like process or event or things because you sat down and you created together. You created what they call a mastermind. And when you look at a mastermind in a very basic sense, there's each of the minds that show up at the table. But the mastermind is the one mind that is created by having all of those people at the table. Say if you have 3 people, it's the 4th mind, because the ideas that were created may not have been created without all 4 of those people or all 3 of those people sitting at the table. Those ideas, there might have been an idea, a creation that never would have happened in any other circumstance had you added a new person or taken away a person. So that's what I mean with co-creation. It's not just about you and your ideas, it's creating with the higher power. And when you trust that there is something else out there that's helping you along the way, this is where you get the magic. You get the connection of not just you and your ideas. I talk about this actually in the chapter of the book that I am collaborating on. We have this co-creation, and the way I see it is like kind of like my hand is one hand on a bicycle that's driving the thing. But if we just have one hand on a bicycle, generally speaking, we just end up going in circles, which is where I've spent a lot of my life going in circles. But when we allow the other hand, a higher power or something else, trust that there's something else out there that's helping us, there's this co-creation, this greater mind, this higher connection that we have. Again, tapping into our intuition. There's a lot of times where if we hadn't tapped into our intuition and trusted it, we may not have done the thing. We may not have been successful. We may not have even had the courage to attempt it. But by allowing ourselves the trust in ourselves, because that's really, well, like I said, whether you believe it's a higher power, God, creator, whatever, or it's just you truly trusting in you and having a belief in you. Imagine if every idea that you had, the first idea, the one that excites you the most, that if you just acted on it and trusted in full faith and knowing that it was going to happen. And what do you think would happen? What could you possibly create? And this is kind of what I'm talking about, is like if we tap into this inner power within us, this power that we all truly have, the potential, we have so much potential within ourselves. We don't even know the depths. I don't know if any of you follow Dr. Joe Dispenza, but if you listen to what he says, like I love him because he talks about the potential that we have, and we have DNA and within us that we don't even utilize. Usually as humans, we evolve and grow and change, and we get rid of what we don't need as creatures of this earth. And it's interesting that we have DNA within us that we're not utilizing, but yet have not released or evolved away from. I wonder why. Because there's this potential within us that we have yet to tap into. Same thing with you talk about in the brain. They say we only use what, 10% of our brain? What happens if we actually use, like, even if we doubled it, what if we use 20% of our brain? Man, that could be scary. But what if we just tapped into a piece of that and trusted a little more within ourselves and the potential that we truly have within us? Imagine what world would create. And that's what I encourage everybody that I work with to do, to step into that potential, to utilize what could be, to step in and be the most powerful, incredible version of you. It's funny, I had calls with people and they talk about their dreams and their goals, and I could just see it within them. It creates a vision in my mind that I'm just like, there's a reason. There's a reason why you have these these dreams within you. It's because they're meant for you. You wouldn't have the desire in your heart, the idea, the thing that you want to do, the where you want to go, the goals that you've created, they wouldn't be on your heart at all if they weren't meant for you. And what if we could just challenge ourselves to step towards them? And what if we could stretch a little further than we ever thought? I would love to just paint you a picture of what I see when I talk to people about their goals and dreams. Because, man, they're amazing. And I know that each and every one of you could create it if you truly wanted. If you had full belief in yourself and your abilities to do so. So I do have an opportunity to talk about these and more, the things that we've talked about today in a further depth. I have created an opportunity where you can connect with me. I have a group of people that we're actually starting this week. It's called Awaken and Empower. And it's to empower you to really, truly awaken the potential, the power that you have that we talked about, whether it be it's tapping into the healing ability of yourself, tapping into some things that, you know, the potential that you have within yourself, the vision of where you want to go and what you want to do and what that might look like for you. We're going to dive into each one of these different topics and the goals, getting clear with your goals and dreams and alignment and what that feels like. What might that be for you? So there, like I said, there is an opportunity. If that's something that you're interested in, definitely please drop a comment in the chat or on the live stream, whichever, and we could talk about it some more. But if nothing else, I would love to know if there's anything in particular that you heard today, whether it was the practice or some part of the conversation that you are taking away today that you get to implement in your life today, that you are empowering yourself with. Because that's my goal more than anything else, is that you walk away with something that you're implementing, a tool that you've been able to utilize to empower you to create, to do, to be whatever it is you truly want to be, to release and let go of things that are holding you, that you know are no longer serving you. And like I said, it could be this Reiki practice. It could be just mindful meditation. It could be a variety of things, whatever feels right for you. What are you implementing? What makes you feel good? Whether it's just understanding your own truth, I'd be good with that. But please take something away from today. And if you haven't, jump on a call with me and I'll give you something. We'll find something for you to take away. Yeah, you totally have. Oh. Oh my goodness, this is so good. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that there's been time in our life that we've tapped into some of this stuff that we didn't even know that's what we were doing. But can I just encourage you to be present in the moment? Feel gratitude, not just say gratitude and, do a gratitude list. Feel gratitude. Like truly feel it in your heart. Anyway, if anybody would love to chat more, I would be more than happy to talk about any and all of this in more depth, have a conversation about how you can implement more of this in your life just from today. And I just appreciate each and every one of you for joining today, for having this, being part of this conversation, for being connected to me and supporting me here in this journey. And I hope you all have a beautiful and wonderful day. We will talk to you all again soon. Have a fantastic one.